Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey there.
Today we're jumping into something really fundamental. Executive functioning.
Yeah, how our brains, manage stuff.
Exactly. But we're not just talking basic productivity tips.
Hmm.
We want to explore how our idea of functioning well is, well, kind of shaped by society.
And crucially, how we can work with our own brains instead of fighting against them all the time.
Our guide for this is a really insightful book, How to Be You, by Ellie Middleton.
Ellie's an activist, speaker, writer, founder of the Unmasked community, really focus on empowering neurodivergent people.
And challenging those taboos and old ways of thinking.
Definitely.
So our mission today is really to unpack the key ideas from the book, help you maybe spot the shoulds you're chasing.
And find ways that actually suit your brain, your unique wiring.
We'll be looking at some unexpected connections the book makes.
Yeah, how societal biases influence things like productivity, punctuality, even how we, show emotions.
And we've got some surprising, really practical tips to share too, things you can actually use.
Should be interesting.
Okay, let's dive in. Setting the scene. Because the book starts with a really bold claim.
It really does.
Ellie Middleton basically says that a lot of the standards we hold ourselves to for executive functions are, and this is a quote, a made-up pile of rubbish.
Huh. Yeah, it's quite a statement, isn't it? But it sets the stage.
It really does. The core idea being that this right way to function, to be organized or whatever.
It's not some fixed truth. It's a social construct.
Yeah.
Made up.
Shaped heavily by societal systems, norms, biases.
And the book points fingers, doesn't mince words. It talks about white supremacy culture characteristics, patriarchy, capitalism, colonialism, ableism.
It's a big framework.
It is. It draws on work like Tima Okun's, looking at specific traits of white supremacy culture that filter into our everyday expectations.
Like paternalism.
Exactly. Power held by a few, making decisions for others without really involving them. Think government policies, maybe, or
the book's example of how medical fields have historically defined normal brain function, often from a very neurotypical perspective.
Right, defining disordered without necessarily centering the experiences of those being defined.
And the either-or thinking, too. Black and white, good, bad.
Yeah, no room for nuance, which is a huge problem when you're talking about brains, because they're all nuanced, right?
Totally. So combine those, and you see how certain ways of working just get labeled wrong or dysfunctional.
Like the example of needing to ask lots of clarifying questions because your brain processes information bottom up.
Instead of seeing the big picture first, you build it from the details.
Yeah. And in a system that values quick answers and deference to experts, that questioning can be seen as, being difficult or challenging authority.
When it's really just how you process information.
Exactly. The book argues those definitions of normal versus disordered have often been, subjective, based on the powerful group's own norms.
And it digs into how things like patriarchy and capitalism affect the support someone might get for EF struggles.
Oh, absolutely. The book paints a picture. Maybe a male executive struggles with task management.
He might have an assistant, systems in place.
Right. But women, who the book notes, still do way more unpaid household labor, juggling childcare, home stuff.
If she struggles with planning or starting tasks in that context.
It's often seen as a personal failing, less structural support, more individual blame.
And the book links this to cultural stereotypes too, right? About emotions, for instance.
Yeah, the whole women are emotional, men need to man up thing. The author shares experiences of her own emotional regulation differences being dismissed as, just hormones.
Oof. And it mentions studies about gender discrimination in healthcare too.
Women having to fight harder to have their symptoms taken seriously. So something like struggling with emotional regulation gets filtered through these biased lenses. It's a flaw, not a difference in processing.
So the big takeaway, echoing Sunny Jane Wise, who's quoted in the book, is that our executive functioning standards, they're largely neuronormative.
Meaning based on a neurotypical model, yeah.
Right.
And unrealistic for loads of people.
What we call dysfunctional is subjective, tangled up in these harmful biases.
Exactly. So the goal isn't about fixing neurodivergence to fit that mold.
It's about questioning the mold itself, questioning the shoulds.
And finding ways to work, live, be that actually suit all kinds of brains.
Okay, so that's the context, the challenge to the status quo. But how do we actually do that, practically speaking?
Right, that's the next step. The book breaks down specific executive functions, reframes them, and offers strategies. Real practical stuff.
Based on working with your brain.
Exactly. Collaborating, not fighting.
Let's start with working memory. Holding info short-term, manipulating it.
Yeah, that mental juggling act. The book explains why this can be tough for neurodivergent folks.
Things like masking, taking up brain space.
Right, or auditory processing differences, intense sensory input, it all uses up bandwidth. The metaphors are great, like trying to hold on to helium balloons.
Or having bees buzzing in your brain. I like those.
Me too. And the out of sight, out of mind thing, object permanence differences, if it's not visible, it might genuinely cease to exist for a moment in your awareness.
Okay, so if internal storage is leaky, what's the workaround?
External systems. Get it out of your head. Mastering your to-do is huge.
Writing it down.
Yep. The book suggests categories: must do, could do, stuff to dump or delegate, and things for later.
Just seeing it written down must free up mental space.
Massively. Another one is share to cement.
Talking about it, teaching it.
Exactly. Explaining something or telling someone your plan helps lock it in. Plus, accountability partners tell someone you're more likely to do it.
Oh, that's smart. Two birds, one stone.
Yeah. And showroom chic, keep important things visible.
Maids by the toaster, keys by the door.
Perfect. And for stuff you can't keep visible, like where your passport is, a master directory, one place where you list where everything important lives.
Like an index for your life admin.
Kinda, yeah. And prep your launch pad before leaving the house.
Get everything ready by the door beforehand.
Yep. Wallet, keys, lunch, whatever. Avoid that frantic last-minute search where you forget half of it.
These are all about scaffolding, aren't they?
Uh-huh.
External supports.
Totally. And the book explicitly lists things that are absolutely fine. Asking for stuff in writing, needing time to process, using alarms or apps. It's permission to use tools.
It reframes it from I'm forgetful to my brain works best with external reminders.
Exactly. It's not a moral failing, it's just needing different tools.
Okay, next up. Self-monitoring. Observing, evaluating your thoughts and actions.
This one's tricky. Neurodivergence can impact it through things like interoception differences.
Sensing what's going on inside your body, like hunger, emotions.
Yeah. If those signals are less clear or feel different, it's harder to check in accurately. How am I feeling right now? Becomes a harder question.
And reading social cues.
That too. The book mentions that if you miss subtle cues, you're missing feedback on how others perceive you, which makes monitoring based on that feedback really difficult.
And the societal pressure piece comes in hard here.
Oh, yeah. Ableism, framing any difference as a deficit, means there's pressure to constantly monitor and correct yourself. Exactly, which the book links to patriarchal expectations for women and marginalized genders to be agreeable, constantly scanning the room, managing others' feelings.
That sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. And the book links it back to that white supremacy culture trait of the qualified blaming individuals instead of environments. You just need to monitor yourself better.
So the reframe here isn't self-monitoring.
But self-knowing, shifting from policing yourself based on external shoulds to actually understanding how your brain works, what you need.
Tuning inward instead of constantly looking outward for validation.
Kind of, but you can only really do that helpful self-reflection when you're not in survival mode, you know.
When you're not constantly masking or fighting your environment.
Right. Finding safe spaces lets you unmask, frees up that mental energy so you can actually ask, okay, what do I need right now, not what should I be doing?
The things that are absolutely fine list for this section felt really liberating.
It's huge, isn't it? Permission to ask for processing time. Use text email if face-to-face is hard. Spend time alone. Hang out with neurodivergent friends who just get it.
Not forcing eye contact. Stimming freely. Speaking bluntly sometimes. Info dumping.
Okay. All part of self-knowing, not failing at self-monitoring according to someone else's rules.
The book also gets practical with support strategies for daily stuff, like meals tailored to different needs.
Yeah, like sensory-friendly options or visual schedules for autistic folks, meal prepping for ADHD brains to reduce decision fatigue, pre-cut veggies if dyspraxia makes chopping hard.
Or just having no cook options ready. It's about removing barriers based on self-knowing.
Exactly. And honoring sensory needs, whether you're sensory-seeking or avoiding. Weighted blankets, comfy clothes, crunchy snacks, whatever works for you.
It also touches on demand avoidance, that resistance to perceived demands.
Yeah, the dishwasher example. You were going to do it, then someone asks, and suddenly you can't.
It's not defiance, it's about autonomy.
Right, so the strategy is to reduce the feeling of demand. Maybe a flexible to-do list feels less demanding than a rigid calendar appointment.
Okay, inhibition or impulse control. Resisting urges, thinking before acting, often linked to ADHD.
Yeah, it's right there in the criteria. Blurting things out, interrupting, trouble waiting your turn. But the book notes less obvious stuff too.
Like jumping into a project without thinking it through.
Or racing thoughts, making big decisions on the spur of the moment. It briefly mentions the possible dopamine-serotonin link, the go and stop signals in the brain.
But it also challenges how society views impulsivity,
Oh,
right?
definitely. Is interrupting always bad? Is waiting patiently in line some moral virtue or just, a feature of capitalism?
Huh. Good point. And how the impulsive label gets applied differently.
Yeah. Depending on gender or whether your decision fits the expected life path, quitting your job to travel might be impulsive, even if you planned it for ages, just because it's not the norm.
The label itself can be a judgment.
Totally. Sometimes it's just shorthand for I don't approve of your choice.
So the strategies focus on creating friction.
Yeah, adding steps between the impulse and the action. For spending. Delete saved card details. Put sticky notes on your cards reminding you of goals. Brain dump reasons why you want the thing before you click buy.
Slowing yourself down deliberately.
Right. Leanne Maskell's car park of ideas for racing thoughts. Acknowledge the idea, write it down, park it for later consideration. Don't just act on every single one.
I like switch over, not off. For rest, too.
Yeah, instead of just crashing, which can feel abrupt for a busy brain, switch to something gently stimulating. Reading, drawing, a puzzle.
Rest that still engages you a bit.
Exactly. And practical things like turning off notifications to avoid impulsive phone checking, or the message monitor idea.
Texting a trusted friend instead of the person you impulsively want to message.
Yeah, get it out, but safely. And Tanisha Crow's finance tips mentioned in the book, like automating savings or bill payments.
Takes the impulse decision out of it. Setting up subscriptions for regular items, too.
Right. The core idea is managing the impact of impulsivity, while also questioning why society judges it so harshly in certain contexts. Often it's about conformity.
Let's move to emotional regulation. Managing those feelings.
This can look like big mood swings, losing your temper easily, feeling overwhelmed, intense sadness, reactions others might see as out of proportion.
The book mentions Dr. Russell Barkley's work on emotional impulsiveness in ADHD.
It does, linking it to that difficulty managing intense emotional responses. But it stresses this isn't just ADHD, it's common across neurotypes.
And it's not just negative emotions either, right?
No, feeling joy really intensely, deep pride for others, huge excitement over small things, that's part of it too. Or sometimes the opposite appearing flat when intense emotion is expected.
And societal biases play a huge role here.
Oh, massively. That characteristic of valuing objectivity often dismisses emotional responses as irrational.
And the fear of conflict thing.
Yeah, we're expressing strong feelings, even valid anger or frustration gets shut down. You get told you're being impolite or making things awkward, rather than the issue itself being addressed.
So the strategies aren't about not feeling things.
No, never. It's about managing the intensity when it feels overwhelming or dysregulating, especially in a world that often tells you you're too much.
Like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique.
Classic for a reason. Engaging your senses, 5 things you see, 4 you touch, etc., pulls you out of the spiral, signals safety to the nervous system.
Questioning catastrophic thoughts, too. What's the actual worst-case scenario? Could I cope?
Yeah, or finding the opposite thought. Challenging the negativity bias.
Lewis Middleton's section on sampling sobriety seemed really relevant here, too.
Yeah, acknowledging how alcohol can impact emotional regulation for some, and offering practical ways to navigate situations if you're cutting back. Excuses, alcohol-free options, focusing on mornings.
Automatic writing sounds interesting.
It's powerful. Julia Cameron's idea, popularized by others. Just writing whatever comes out, stream of consciousness, no filter, no stopping.
Getting the raw emotion onto the page.
Exactly. Accessing stuff that might be subconscious. The rules are key. Keep writing. Don't censor. Don't worry if it's messy or makes no sense. Just flow.
And Josephine Nechtley's approach to triggers. Why did this upset me?
Viewing triggers not as attacks, but as mirrors. Getting curious. Where do I feel this in my body? What's the message? How can I support myself?
Using movement, like a shake break, to move the energy.
Yeah, and that affirmation. Triggers are not happening to me, they're happening with me. I hold the right to decide. It's about agency.
The key point feels like emotions are valid, even intense ones. The goal is manageability and self-compassion, not shame.
Absolutely. And it's okay to express them outwardly, even the difficult ones, despite what society might prefer.
Okay, flexibility. Adapting to change. This can be particularly hard for autistic people.
The book explains why literal thinking, black and white thinking, can make unexpected shifts really distressing. Plans changing feels fundamentally wrong sometimes.
And autistic inertia.
Right, Quincy Hansen's quoted on this. That tendency to get stuck in a state, hard to start, hard to stop, hard to switch tasks, makes transitions tough.
And society expects flexibility, but not equally from everyone.
No way. The book argues marginalized groups are always expected to do the adapting, the flexing, to fit the dominant culture. Masking is a form of forced flexibility.
Plus, the capitalist pressure for constant progress. Bigger, faster.
Means constant pressure to adapt quickly, pivot on demand.
But the book's message is crucial. Flexibility shouldn't mean changing who you fundamentally are.
Exactly. It's about navigating change while protecting your core needs and identity.
Strategies focus on finding stability within the flux, like identifying non-negotiables.
Yeah, small constants you can rely on even when bigger things change. A daily walk, reading before bed, having specific safe foods available. Anchors.
The things that are absolutely fine list here includes sticking to your routine when you need to, needing extra time to process changes, saying no if expectations shift suddenly.
Setting boundaries, basically. Protecting your capacity. Admitting when you're wrong is also listed. That's a kind of flexibility, too. Processing things verbally. Asking for more info.
Charlie Rewilding's energy rating for tasks sounds helpful for flexibility.
Yeah, color-coding tasks by energy cost low, medium, high. If your energy levels change unexpectedly, you can adjust your task list to match, rather than forcing yourself or giving up entirely.
And Risjome's 4 quadrants for the day
Breaks the day into chunks. So if one part gets derailed by unexpected change, you haven't ruined the whole day. You can still focus on the next quadrant. Combats that all-or-nothing thinking.
Autistic inertia hacks.
Like keeping something constant during a transition, maybe listening to the same song, holding a fidget toy, staying on a call with someone while you switch environments, easing the shift.
And neurodivergent Lou's trial run idea.
So smart. Visiting a new place or practicing a new route beforehand to reduce anxiety, making the unpredictable feel a bit more predictable.
Okay, nearly there. Planning and prioritization. Systematic approach to goals.
Challenges here can include that big picture thinking tendency sometimes, or the bottom-up processing common in autism.
Building the picture from details, needing all the info first.
Right, which means filtering a lot of information. It can make it hard to see the wood for the trees or know where to start.
And societal views often frame this as just being bad at prioritizing.
Or assuming your priorities are wrong because they don't match external expectations, or blaming you for not understanding vague instructions when actually you need specific, clear steps because of that bottom-up style.
The book really emphasizes that needing clear instructions isn't a failing.
Absolutely not. The things that are absolutely fine, list reinforces this. Prioritize what matters to you. Do things in the order that makes sense to you. Need clear instructions, reassess plans, focus on one step.
Strategies mentioned include visual schedules for specific routines.
Like morning or evening routines, yeah. Makes it automatic. Bare minimum Monday, also from Marisa Jomes.
Setting achievable goals on low-energy days.
Yeah, to prevent burnout and that shame spiral of feeling unproductive, it challenges the pressure for constant high output.
Other prioritization methods.
Choosing a word of the month as a guiding theme or consciously working out your non-negotiables, like ensuring exercise or creative time happens no matter what else gets dropped.
Right.
Defining your priorities.
The key insight seems to be planning difficulties often stem from a mismatch between your processing style and external demands.
And needing to ask clarifying questions is part of bridging that gap, not a sign of incompetence.
Finally, task initiation. Just getting started, a huge hurdle for many.
Especially with interest-led brains, common in ADHD, knowing something is important often isn't enough motivation.
Needs that spark, novelty, interest, challenge, urgency.
Exactly. The book uses the simplified idea that if the task itself doesn't provide that dopamine hit, the brain needs an external one to overcome inertia and get going.
And society's view is often just, stop procrastinating, just do it.
Right. Capitalism, white supremacy culture, value constant production, speed. Hesitation looks like laziness or defiance.
The book pushes back on that linear view of time, too.
Yeah, suggesting alternatives like spiral time, elliptical orbits, seeing unfinished projects not as failures, but maybe buried treasure you can return to. The author uses her own book writing process as an example, spiraling out, coming back in.
Arguing that hesitation isn't always procrastination, it can be vital processing time.
Yes. challenging the unrealistic expectation that we should be able to switch tasks and start immediately on demand.
So strategies are about adding that missing motivation, that dopamine.
Injecting interest, novelty, challenge, or urgency. Like a specific playlist just for your morning routine adds novelty, maybe a sense of urgency if it's timed.
Body doubling.
Working alongside someone, even silently, their presence provides external structure, accountability.
Simple things too, like just aiming for fewer tasks per day.
Yeah, managing expectations. Allowing yourself decompression time, like scrolling for a bit between tasks without judging yourself for it.
The start for 2 minutes trick.
Classic because it works. Just committing to 2 minutes often breaks the initiation barrier. And reframing language, I can do this instead of I must do this.
Shifting from demand to permission.
Exactly. The insight is difficulty starting isn't a moral failing. It's often about motivation wiring, judged harshly by systems obsessed with constant output.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together, this deep dive really highlights how our view of executive functioning isn't neutral.
Not at all. It's deeply tangled up with these external societal pressures, biases, the shoulds.
And those shoulds can make us feel awful, like we're constantly falling short.
The book's core message really is that the way forward is recognizing those pressures, challenging that narrow definition of normal.
And finding strategies that actually work with your specific brain, your way of being.
It's about collaboration, not conformity.
Learning to work with yourself is definitely a process, right? Trial and error.
Absolutely. But the book argues that by questioning the shoulds, by embracing what works for you, you navigate the world more easily.
And become, well, a fuller version of yourself, more authentic.
Yeah, you reclaim all that energy you were spending trying to fit into a box that was never meant for you.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to take away this week.
Yeah.
Think about one should in your life, maybe around time or emotions or how you get tasks done. One that feels more like an external expectation than something that truly served you.
Okay.
What might happen if you just questioned it a little, challenged it gently this week? What space might that create for being genuinely, authentically you?
That's a powerful question to sit with.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We hope it gave you some useful insights, maybe some permission to do things your way.